I grew up different than most people and in a really lucky way. So my dad was a medicinal botanist and his Ph.D. was making medicine out of plants. We would grow up, and if my dad would see a plant along the side of the road that he wanted to teach us about, or he just was something he was trying to identify, he would pull over, we would all pile out, and he would be teaching us about, you use this part of the plant, you collect it at this time of the day. We'd be learning the Latin names and the common names, and that was the way we were raised. And there's 14 kids in my family. So we grew up in this kind of big, crazy family. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So this was a time when all of the manufacturers of food were making housewives' jobs easier. Packaged and processed foods and fast food started just like exploding, and we never got any of that. We felt completely deprived. How can't we go to McDonald's, or can we go to the restaurant, or we want Wonder Bread instead of this horrible homemade wheat bread my mom used to make? We had big gardens, and we thought we were really put upon because we didn't get all these great hamburger helpers and whatever that was. So as adults now, most of us are in our 50s, and we realize pretty quickly when we grew up what a gift we got. Growing up with a dad that loved everything plant, it was like kind of super hippie-ish. We were totally embarrassed by my dad and his hippie friends and plants everywhere, and it was just kind of crazy because we didn't go to the doctor very much. We used to get comfrey out of the garden and put it on. We'd get a bone set if we had broke a bone. We'd go to the doctor for that. We were always just raised like little hippie kids, and we were completely horrified by the whole thing growing up. He was mostly selling to other practitioners, but the interesting thing is he was a hardcore researcher and a collaborator. When I was a senior in high school, he wrote a book that is still very much in demand today. It's called From the Shepherd's Purse. And I'm actually in the process right now of updating, reformatting, and adding to it because it's been now 40 years since it was first published. And what he loved to do most was to collaborate with other people. He collaborated with Hulda Clark, was one of his favorite collaborators, Dr. E.T. Krebs and Renee Cassie of the Essiac fame. He worked with her for several years in the late 60s. As kids, we used to take turns going on business trips with my dad. I got to meet E.T. Krebs when I was about 16, and I was not impressed at the time. It was like not a big deal. His favorite thing was collaborating with other people who are really interested in what makes herbal medicine, what's the properties. He was really into what makes it work, what makes it antiviral. It was a pretty amazing childhood. A normal dinner for us would be a couple of my dad's chiropractor friends would be over. As little kids, we'd all be getting chiropractic adjustments or acupuncture or iridology, or we'd be getting our hair read. He was kind of a rebel and ran his business underground a little bit. So when he passed away, none of my siblings wanted to carry on his work. So I restarted his company about 17 years ago. So now I've been going for a really long time. I've been able to collaborate with a lot of other practitioners. I'm not a practitioner, but I've been able to get this amazing feedback. So when my dad worked with Renee Cassie, he worked very closely with not only the herbs that are the 4 traditional herbs that are in Essiac. He made a concentrated tincture. That's what he was really well known for, was his ability to take plants and put them into a concentrated tincture. In fact, a lot of people might not realize a tincture and an extract are very different. A tincture is 100% alcohol, whether that's grain or cane or grape or whatever it is. And an extract is a combination of alcohol, water, glycerin, something like that. What he really loved to do was to put herbs and herbal formulations into tincture form, because then you've got a really hardcore power. You can always add it to water and make it diluted a little bit if you need to. So to the traditional 4 herbs in Essiac, he added 2 powerful anti-cancer herbs, which are bloodroot and watercress. We make a tincture that was one of my dad's original formulas that we call Essiac 20 because it has the addition of those 2 herbs. And that is honestly one of my favorite. I go through around twice a year just for prevention and blood cleansing, and you just don't know what's going on inside of you. So that's probably one of my favorite things to talk about because people, especially if you're familiar with Essiac, it is a powerful blend of herbs. And the thing is, what people might not realize is sometimes herbs need other herbs to complement each other to give it the power. So you could do singles, which are good too, and sometimes necessary on their own. But when you start to blend herbs and all their constituents and what makes them complement, then you've got some real power. That's probably one of my very favorites. I love things like pot of arco and cat's claw, feverfew. So feverfew is really well known for headaches and migraines, but what's really cool about feverfew is it contains an alkaloid called parthenolide. When you extract it just right in a tincture form, it actually stimulates adult stem cells. You're maybe doing some fasting and putting your body in autophagy. You take tincture like a feverfew, then you've just given your body a power punch to even get those stem cells working for you even more. I love adaptogens because I think some cancers can be exacerbated or even come on because of stress. And I think as modern humans, we have these stressors come at us that our body thinks we're running from a tiger when we're just stuck in traffic and we're pissed off, or maybe we got fired, or maybe we're just a busy mom. And we have these stresses that are unique to modern humans. And adaptogenic herbs help to balance body chemistry. They support your adrenals and help your body realize that you're not running from a tiger. You're simply living as a modern human with modern stressors. So I love adaptogens like ashwagandha, rhodiola, maca root, suma root, holy basil, cordyceps mushrooms, and reishi mushrooms. Those are all things for people to look into. So things like that help bring your stress into control because I think a lot of cancers can be exacerbated by stress.